Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, good morning, everyone. This is Crystal, Marketing Manager from VBusiness. We would like to thank all of you for registering and for your time for today's session for KUBE Workspaces Webinar. As you can see, we're still waiting for the others, so let's give others 5 minutes grace period. Again, we'll start in about few minutes. Thank you, everyone. Hi everyone, good morning. I think it's already 5 minutes, so we're about to start our webinar for today. Again, thank you for coming to KUBE Workspaces Webinar. And before we start, you may also like VBusiness Facebook page to get updated to our upcoming events and webinars, and also to get to know more of our other solutions. You may scan the QR code as you can see on the screen so that you can be directed with our Facebook page. For those who cannot scan, you may go to www.facebook.com/vbusinesssolutions. As you will also notice, all of you is automatically muted. So if you have any questions or concerns during the session, please feel free to comment down on the question section box that you can see on the right side of your screen. Our facilitators and speakers for today will be happy to assist you and to answer your questions. For direct questions to our speakers during this session, you may also raise your hand so that the speaker will be notified. Again, good morning. This is Crystal, Marketing Manager from VBusiness. We all appreciate your presence and for giving us time even in this current COVID-19 enhanced community quarantine situation that we have. As we all know, this will be a new norm for all of us, even after ECQ. In times like this, before we held our events at hotels or at AWS office in BGC, and we have coffee and breakfast before we start off the session and do some chit chats. But as we implement social distancing, this will be a new norm for all of us. And hopefully all of us already have our breakfast for today. All of us here, I think, is really blessed to have work from home arrangements. Or if not for some, this is really a good time to know how we can shift into this new norm with the work from home solutions that VBusiness is going to tackle for today's session. Again, for today, our agenda is we have three presenters to speak and to talk to you about how we can implement work from home solutions even at the comfort of our home. For our first speaker, we have Ms. Quinake to discuss how we can cope up with the business continuity plan on cloud solution. And the second presenter for later is Ms. Athena Balanay to discuss the main topic for today's session, which is KUBE Workspaces. And lastly, we have also Mr. Ferdinand Tito Santos to discuss the technical demo for the KUBE Workspaces. Again, KUBE Workspaces is powered by Amazon Web Services, and VBusiness is an advanced consulting partner. So if you have any questions on how we can reach you and how we can help you on your cloud journey, you can also email us or send a question on the question box that you can see on the right side of the screen. And everyone, we hope that all of you is staying safe and healthy at the comfort of your home and of course with your families. This is a perfect moment to spend time with our loved ones and do also household chores and also to attend with these kinds of free webinars, enable for us to have insights about what is new and what will be applicable for our business and able to still run efficiently and smoothly, making it feel like we are just working at office but in the comfort of our very home. All right, without further ado, let me give the floor to our first speaker to discuss about coping up with the help of business continuity plan on cloud. Let's welcome KUBE Business Operations Head, Ms. Quina Ke. Ms. Quina?
Yes, thank you for that, Crystal. And again, good morning to everyone, and thank you for the time to join us today for a KUBE Workspaces webinar. So, my name again is Quina Ke. I'm the business unit head for KUBE Cloud Solutions, and our agenda for today is I'll be talking about what is business continuity plan in general and how do customers respond to nowadays situation with our COVID-19? And then what are the BCP solutions that we can leverage on with the power of cloud technology? Okay, so first and foremost, a quick background as well of who is VBusiness. So VBusiness that started way back in 2013. So we are one of the pioneer partners of Amazon Web Services here in the country. And currently, we are an advanced consulting partner wherein we help customers, just like you guys, to plan out your projects or execute your requirements on the cloud. So let's talk about business continuity plan. Business continuity plan is actually the process involved in creating a system in order for us to prevent threats to our company and in order for us to plan out a recovery for our operations. So these threats can come in different forms. One of the most common forms are natural disasters. So there might be times that we need to plan out for unexpected floods, fire, earthquake that can hamper our business operations. There might also be times that there are threats, man-made, like virus attacks, ransomware, cyber attacks, that can also affect our operations. And right now, what we are experiencing is a pandemic attack, such as the COVID-19 situation, which is very clearly, we are experiencing how much it has affected our normal operations. It might also have affected how we usually do our business. So business continuity plan is very crucial for each and every company in order to make sure that we are able to respond and to resume our operations at the soonest time. So, how are customers responding to COVID-19? So, usually, BCPs are implemented to minimize disruption to operations. So, like what we have experienced right now, some of us might be doing work from home. Some might have to like temporarily have to stop a portion of their operations, but still be able to continue and operating on some parts of the business. Now, work from home setup is imposed for flexible work arrangements. So, as what Crystal mentioned right now, as we are transitioning into a new norm wherein we are working at the comforts of our home, this is providing us a flexible work arrangement, and at the same time, having this kind of BCP allows our employees to maintain their security as well as maintain productivity in the company. So another way of responding is we are now experiencing the power of technology. So we are now able to still maintain a level of collaboration, like we are doing right now. As Crystal also mentioned earlier, at the normal setup, we would have these events in places like Amazon office or at the hotels. But as we are right now experiencing the social distancing, we can leverage the power of technology in order for us to still be able to perform the operations that we usually do prior to this situation. Now, what are the things that we need to consider when we're planning out our business continuity operations or plans? So first and foremost, it's security, especially for companies who are very sensitive for data privacy compliance, for companies who are sensitive in maintaining a standard quality of their security compliance in the company as well. So security is very important when we're choosing our BCP. Another thing is accessibility and reliability. So of course, we want to have a BCP solution wherein guaranteed that it can be accessible and it is reliable whenever we need it. Because again, a BCP won't be effective or won't be useful if we won't be able to access it, if it won't be working properly when the time comes that we need it. So it's very crucial that we evaluate the BCP solutions that we are implementing for our company. And then the third thing we need to consider is having the on-demand model. So as what we mentioned to our customers, the good thing about the cloud technology is that it's in an on-demand model, so meaning you only pay for what you use. This is very important as we try to manage and control our expenses during these trying times. So like what we're doing right now, it's very important that we trade our capital expenses for operational expenses. So having this on-demand model is very helpful for us companies. Then the last thing is being able to have a management of your cost. So when planning out a BCP, of course, we don't want to invest or spend too much on our BCP. We want to maintain a certain level of acceptable expenditure or investment for our BCP. So that's where on-demand models come hand in hand with our cost management. So the good thing about our BCP solutions powered by AWS is that we can manage our cost, we can monitor it, we can control it. So that's a good way of managing our costs during in response to our COVID-19 situations or even other threat attacks that we might experience in the future. Now, as I keep on mentioning earlier about BCP solutions, let me just highlight here three areas that we can try to look into where we can put in place our BCP. So the first area is for disaster recovery or DR on cloud. The second area is for the infrastructure. And the third area is for the application. So there are different parts where we can implement BCP. But as we leverage on cloud, these are the three areas that I think would be helpful to all of us in evaluating our company's BCP. So first is on DR on cloud. So part of our business continuity, I mentioned earlier that we need to be able to recover our normal operations once disaster or once a threat hits our company. So having a backup of your database or of your operations on cloud is actually a good way of implementing BCP. Like what we've experienced with some of our customers during this COVID-19 situation, most of them have their backup, but it's on premise. So when the time came that the government had to impose that some companies would have to stop their operations, they cannot continue working from home because they cannot access their database or their files from their on-premise. So this is a good way to start evaluating like what are the crucial operations or applications that you have on your company that is currently on premise, but would be very important for you to have access on it if you would be imposing work from home. So having that DR on cloud is very important because whenever you need it, then we can restore it when the time comes and have it operate on cloud. So also in terms of DR, we're also uh, suggesting that we have a long-term plan for our backup. So like archiving is very crucial. Like for some companies, especially on the financial side, like our government mandates that we keep a digital copy of our financial statements or financial books. So having the option to do archiving in a cheap or in a most cost effective way is a good proposal to our management. So on cloud, we have this solution called Amazon Glacier, which is our archiving solution. And again, you only pay for the amount of data that you are archiving with them. And it has a very resilient service level agreement, assuring the clients that all data that would be back up on cloud would be secured and available whenever you needed it. Now let's look into the second area here. So it's about our infrastructure. Now the good thing about infrastructure is with AWS, talking from our own experience, we started out moving our non-critical applications on cloud to help lessen the expenses of maintaining an on-premise data center. Now, once we saw how effective it was and how reliable the cloud is, then we started moving all our applications, even our Active Directory, on cloud. So our previous room of data center became an empty room as we turned off our servers one by one. And it actually saved a lot. We actually saved a lot on expenses like air conditioning, additional security, maintaining those servers. So when this time came that we had this pandemic, it was actually so easy for the management to switch from our normal operations to our work from home setup. So that's where we experience having to work from home is not any different from working in the office. So this kind of experience and this kind of speed on to respond onto this kind of situations is very crucial when you have your BCP or when you have your applications running on cloud already. So consider running your resources from multiple sites, not just on your on-premise. A good way for your BCP is to consider running your applications as well on cloud. Okay? Now, next is the application. So as much as possible, we want to have applications. Again, going back to the points that we mentioned earlier, is running on a pay-as-you-go model. So this is where applications come in. Like for chatbot, um, a lot of our companies experience that they have trouble in responding to customers. So when they try to respond to their customers' inquiries, their manpower resources are not enough. So this is where artificial intelligence chatbot comes in. So they help you respond to your customers through referring to a series of frequently asked questions in the database. So this lessens the operational burden on our employees on responding to those emails or into those chats, and at the same time improves the user experience in terms of being able to respond to your customers' increase at the soonest time. Another thing is for the application on Chime. So for the application on Chime, this is actually again a pay-as-you-go model. So meaning you only pay for the users that are running your Chime accounts. So in this way, you can securely maintain collaborative meetings internally, but also externally. Another thing is for the application on Workspaces. So Workspaces is our desktop as a service solution. So as the this is would be the main focus of our webinar today, wherein Athena would be discussing further on the aspects of Workspaces. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for today. And I'll be transferring the floor to Athena for her to discuss more deeply into workspaces. So, Athena.
Okay, hello. So good morning, everyone, and thank you, Miss Pina, for the introduction as well. So hello, everyone, and good morning. I hope we are all doing fine and we are all healthy as well. Okay, so as discussed by Miss Pina, there are some solutions that might help us to continue our operations, and that's what I'm going to discuss today. So, but before we proceed, let us all know how our companies or customers respond to COVID-19 situation. So some of the companies are compelled. Okay, I'll proceed to my. So some of the companies are compelled or they are forced to implement business continuity plans or BCP to minimize disruptions of operations. Many of organizations as well are considering work from home arrangements or flexible work arrangements. So some has an alternate site to continue their leadership and operations. Businesses are also considering physical segregation of workers, staggering of schedules, and then it is also government mandate and for long-term preparedness as well. So why for long-term preparedness? Maybe some of the businesses has no or have no VCP, but requires to access work from home required to access work from home users from scratch. Or maybe some of the companies have existing VCP in place, or maybe some of the companies doesn't have existing BCP or have their existing BCP in place, and they are all required to quickly add BCP users due to urgent scenario, right? And not just this scenario we are preparing for. So some of the companies also wanted to be prepared for other form of threats. So what are those other form of threats that we should be prepared? So these are flooding, natural disasters, data loss plus cyber attacks, network and internet disruptions, terrorist attacks, office vandalism, distractions, workforce stoppages, transportation blockages, strikes and protests, and there are also many more. So these are some form of threats that we should also consider and prepared. in the long run. So how can we prepare to these threats and continue our operations even if we are in our comforts of our home? So we have AWS Workspaces. So this is a fully managed desktop computing services, or what we also call a desktop as a service solution that allows its customers to provide cloud-based desktop to end users. So with AWS Workspaces, we can access our documents, applications, and other back-end resources from our home through these supported devices. So such as laptops, iPad, Kindle Fire, or Android tablets. So Amazon Workspaces as well is ensure that all data are not saved on end users' local devices. So meaning employees or customers are accessing within AWS Workspaces. So AWS Workspaces also helps us to eliminate managing the VDI because all of these are already fully managed by AWS. Sorry, sorry. So all of these are already fully managed by AWS. And all the resources and data will be installed and that would be managed by the customers only. So we can easily provision workspaces in just a minute, and we can choose either Linux or Windows, depends on our choice. So what are the benefits of Amazon Workspaces? So coverage. So Amazon Workspaces has the widest geographical coverage, including China. So we can provision. So Amazon Workspaces has 13 regions that we can choose and we can provision. So speed. So Amazon Workspaces instances can be spun up and terminated anytime. Scalability. So scale up or down based on our user requirements to support our BCP user, and we only pay for what we need. SLA, so service level agreement, so minimum of 99.9 monthly uptime commitment. So CapEx so versus OpEx. So let's save on CapEx with the convenient pay as you go model, OpEx model, because we only pay for what we use. So security and compliance. So like what I've said, there's no data on end user devices. So that's the benefits of AWS Workspaces. So next slide. Okay. Features. What are the features of AWS Workspaces? So first is the functionality. So Amazon Workspaces is easy to provision and it is also easy to use. Next is there are also streaming protocols with Amazon Workspaces. And then Amazon Workspaces bundle. So this Amazon Workspaces bundles, we can choose based on our preferred bundles. So later on, I'll discuss what are those bundles. It is also a combination of an operating system, storage, compute, and software resources. Okay. So next, bring your own licenses. So we can bring our existing Windows 10 license. So this is 1:1. So as long as we met the licensing requirement of Microsoft. And we can provision 200 workspaces in a specific region. Okay. So easy provisioning. So like what I've said, in just a minute, we can provision Amazon Workspaces. Secure and encrypted. So there are no data stored on end users' local devices. Active Directory and radius and integration. So if you have existing Active Directory on premise, so we can use it to integrate and use our existing credentials. And also, if we have Radius server, we can also integrate it to activate the MFA or the multi-factor authentication. So if we don't have existing AD and we want to set up AD on AWS, so we can provide it as well. Next is AWS Workspaces has a persistent storage as well, and it is also accessible via desktop, mobile, and web access through Firefox and Google Chrome. Okay. So Amazon Workspaces bundles. So these are the Amazon Workspaces bundles. So we have the value, standard, performance, power, power pro, graphics, and graphics pro. So Amazon Workspaces is just like the specifications of our laptops. So we have here the CPU and memory gig. So we can choose on our depends on what we preferred. So like for example, we are going to install a graphic intensive application. So we need to choose the higher specs or the higher bundles of Amazon Workspaces. So we have Amazon Workspaces, or each bundles also have the allocated SSD root volume and SSD user storage, wherein users can upload or use this user storage to upload their data. Okay. So next. So these are the points to ponder. So what we need to consider before setting up AWS Workspaces. So first is let us know how many BCP users or business continuity users are we planning to target on a specific location. We need to know how many, like for example, you have a site in US, so how many users are going to access from there, and if you have in the Philippines, how many users in the Philippines. Next is what endpoint devices will they be using? Because once we provision the AWS workspaces, um, there will be an email sent to the end users and instructing to install the client application depends on their endpoint devices. Next is we have an on-premise AD. So we can also set up Amazon Workspaces as is. But if you wish to integrate or we want to integrate the existing and on-premise AD and we want to use our existing credentials, then we can we can do it. Next is do you require to access your workspaces through public or private? So some of the company, so we need to know how the application um, requires an access because maybe it requires a VPN solution or whatsoever. So we need to know how we need to know the flow or the process flow of that application as well. And then, do your BCP users need a full Windows 10 or Linux desktop experience, or they just need to access a few desktop application? So that's what I've said a while ago. So it will depends on the application or or if they need a Windows 10 desktop experience, and we can choose those bundles depends on their preferred applications or what they need, what what they want to install on their workspaces desktop. Next is what BCP applications will they need to access from home or alternate site. So this is same question from a while ago. So do they need access on any graphic intensive application? So if they have those graphic intensive applications, so let's proceed to the higher specs or the higher bundles. So how long will they access the workspaces? Um, um, because that's like what I've said, workspaces is we only pay for what we use. So there's a feature of AWS workspaces, what we call auto stop, depends on how long the Amazon workspaces is running. So that would be also discussed by Sir Tito later on. So I think that's all. We I hope I give a brief idea about the Amazon workspaces. So I'll give the floor to Sir Ferdinand Tito Santos to give a technical demo of AWS workspaces.
are okay. So this will be our agenda for this morning. So I'll be discussing about Amazon Workspace architectural diagram, prerequisites of Amazon Workspaces, Amazon Workspaces, and the demo part will be launching Amazon Workspaces, accessing Amazon Workspaces, and user self-permission. So this is our architecture diagram for this demo. So we have here the AWS managed service, managed VPC, sorry, which is in a pink background. And on the white background is the customer managed VPC. And our users are accessing the workspaces via internet. So if we will be requiring our workspaces to integrate with our on-prem applications or on-prem Active Directory, we will be doing a site-to-site VPN or a direct connect connection from AWS to our office. So this is our prerequisite. So for the service availability, we can check it by accessing this URL. Check it. So here it is. So for now, when we try to check it, so it's saying it's recommending Asia Pacific in Korea, Seoul. But normally, we are always being redirected to Singapore. It depends on the connection. Okay, and as we can see in the architecture diagram, we will be requiring VPCs, subnets for workspaces, one public subnet and two private subnets, public route of workspaces, internet gateway, not gateway. In this setup, we are using an AWS managed directory. So now we will be doing the demo. So when launching an Amazon Workspace, there are only 5 steps we can do it. So first, we select a directory, identify users, select bundles, workspaces configuration, and review. So this is our AWS management console. So I'll just search workspaces. So let's just click launch workspace. So this is our directory. So by default, I will be using our VBusiness.ph directory. Then let's create the user. For this, I will be creating the AWS.user, AWS user, and the email address will be my email address. We will the reason why we will be requiring the email address, because after the successful launching of the workspaces, AWS Workspace or Amazon Workspace will be emailing the client for his profile or for the creation of his or her password. Okay, it's already created. And you can also search existing users like me. I'm already an existing user. So let's just click next for this one. And on this part, we will be selecting our workspace bundles. Okay, so we have as discussed by Athena, we have several workspace bundles, starting from value, which has this kind of configuration, 1 vCPU and 2 GB of memory, to a graphics pro having a 16 vCPU and 122 GB of memory. For Windows, these are for Windows and these are for Linux. For this demo, I will be using the standard for Windows 10, which is free eligible. Okay. Here, and I'll just click next. Okay, and this is the workspace configuration. Okay. So we can select the running mode. On running mode, there are two options: always on and auto stop. Always on, it will the workspace will run 24/7, while on auto stop, we can set a time, an idle time of 1 hour, minimum of 1 hour, where the workspace, for example, the workspace is not being used by the user for 1 hour, it will auto stop. Okay. And if the user wants to connect or use the workspace again, it will start up again or resume its operation. Okay. We also have an encryption if you want to encrypt the root volume or the user volume. By the way, the root volume is our drive C, while the user volume is our drive D, where all the data of the users will be kept. Okay. For this demo, I will not be using encryption. By the way, if you want to use not the default encryption, you can go to KMS console to generate your own encryption key. Management tags, we can name the machine for audit purposes or tracking purposes. And just click next. Okay. So here's our machine, and I'll just click launch. By the way, it will take around 20 minutes for the workspace to be successfully launched. Now, let's try accessing the Amazon Workspaces. So this is the sample of the email that will be sent by Amazon Workspaces, which contains the link where the user can set his or her password, where she or he can get his registration code that will be used for accessing the workspace, his or her username, and link to access the installer of Amazon Workspace clients. So when you click this link, you will be redirected here. Okay. So I'll show it to you. So these are the types of client Amazon Workspace clients. So we can run it on iPad, Mac OS, Windows, Android, Fire Tablet, Web Access, and Linux. For now, we will be using the Windows client. Now let's access the workspace. So here's my client. By the way, if you are a first-time user of Amazon Workspace, it will ask for your registration code. While on this setup, I already registered my registration code. But if you want to change your registration code, you can change it here, and input the new registration code from here. But for now, it's already inputted. I'll just put in my username and password, which is already cached in the username, and I'll just input my password. So here is my Amazon Workspace. Okay. So by default, this Amazon Workspace is hosted in Singapore. Now, so when you type to ESET, not go. The country will be Singapore. Well, let's do a speed test. While we are doing a speed test, also we can customize this this workspace, we can install our own applications. Like mine, I already installed the LibreOffice. I already installed the Google Chrome. So you can install your applications. Also, we can limit if we want our users not to have full admin access on this workspace, we can also do that. Okay. So this is our internet speed in Singapore. So this is just how easy we can access workspace. Okay. So I'll just continue with my slides. So we will also be discussing user self-service permission, which we can do on the client, on the Amazon Workspace client. So like Remember Me Now. So this allows the client to cache in the credentials, like on my AWS in Amazon Workspace client, which the registration code is already cached in or saved, and the username is already there. We can also restart workspace from the client side, or increase the volume size of the root volume or the user volume. Change compute type from value to Power Pro workspace. Switch running mode from always on to auto stop, and the build workspace from client. So I'll show it to you. I'll show that to you. So here, manage login. So here, we can remember the registration code and keep me logged in. Okay, that's one. Also, if you want to know what compute type or username our workspaces who's login, we can type this. Support out. So the status of our Amazon Workspace is healthy. Our workspace IP address, our workspace name, and the compute type is standard. Region where it is hosted, Asia Pacific, and the registration code, the username. Let's close this one. So we can also increase the disk size. So when increasing the disk size, there will be no downtime. We can still use it, the machine. We can still use the machine while doing an increase of disk size. I'll just cancel this because it will take a lot of around 10 to 15 minutes to increase it. Change compute type from standard to Power Pro to Power or Performance. We can do that on the client side. Okay, but when doing this, it will require a reboot or a restart of the workspaces. We can also change the switch running mode. So from auto stop to always on. So if we change it to always on, there will be additional pay for workspaces. Also same in the increase volume size and change compute type. Okay. We can also rebuild the workspaces. By the way, every 12 hours, workspace backup the user data or the user volume. Okay. So if you want to set the workspace in its original state, we can do that. And lastly, we can restart workspace from the client side. So let's do a restart. And now all of those things we can enable and disable from the console. So we can enable and disable it from here. If you don't want our users to have that capacity or that privileges, for example, we don't want our client to increase their volume size or change their compute type, we can do that, or switch their running mode, we can disable it. Okay, cancel. All of those things also can be done by the admin or by the admin of this workspace. For example, this one. Sorry, it's rebooting. So let's just give an example on this one. So here we can reboot workspace, start workspace, stop workspace, rebuild and restore workspace, remove workspace. For now, let's try modify workspace. So from here, we can increase the volume size of the root or the user. Okay. Also from here, we can change the compute type. As you can see, there's only value to Power Pro. Okay. How can we go to Graphics Pro or Graphics Pro? Later, I'll show it to you. Modify from available to admin maintenance. For that, if you want to upgrade it to a higher class of workspace, we can do it from here, from the Migrate tab, from Migrate Workspace. So we can do standard to Graphics Pro from here. Okay. I'll just click cancel. Also, we can create image. So for example, we have a standard of application installed on one department, on a workspace or workstation on a specific department. All standards applications are installed there. So when we are creating our workspace image or a golden image, we can already install all those applications and create an image from there and just deploy the workspace and just deploy that golden image for that department to be used. Just cancel it. We can also modify the running mode in here. There. Okay. Let's go back to my slides. Here, so if you have questions, to chat it on the chat box. And again, thank you. I'm Tito Santos. If you have questions, feel free to ask via question box on the right side of the screen. I'm going to pass the floor to Crystal for the closing remarks.
Thank you, Sir Tito, for sharing to us how KUBE Workspaces works. And for everyone, this is your chance to ask questions via the question box, as you can see on the right side of your screen. Our speakers and facilitators will be glad to answer. And to end this note, I would like to share that KUBE Workspaces perfectly works to all industries that is implementing or planning to implement work from home scheme. COVID-19 is not the only situation that we may encounter able to set a work from home solution. Again, this is the new norm, so we need to be prepared and able to still continue business operations smoothly. VBusiness currently works on a certain companies with their work from home scheme via KUBE Workspaces powered by Amazon Web Services. One case study also that we can share is how we currently work with the LGUs and public sector and able to connect with the community via the work from home offerings that we have. After this session, may we ask to please answer the quick survey that will pop up once you leave the webinar. This will also be sent to you via email for your reference. And also, we will be giving a special token to our early bird. You know who you are, so please stay tuned on how you can get your prize via email. You may send an email to us or message us via our Facebook page if you would like to schedule a separate session to discuss how we can help you execute your BCP on cloud, or on how we can set up or start setting up your work from home solution specifically for your organization or company. Again, KUBE Workspaces can be set up in just a span of minutes. Thank you everyone again for your time. Stay safe and healthy. I think that's all. And God bless us all and have a great day ahead. Thank you.